Thank you. Too Much Too Young by The Specials, or Special AKA is it called. I'm not quite sure whether they call themselves Special AKA in that particular version. And that was at the very beginning of what is a fantastic decade. And you're probably going to say, well, why aren't we playing the 90s? Why aren't we playing the 70s, 60s? Because, in my opinion, the 80s is the greatest of all the decades. And I'll give you a reason why, right? Because, essentially, if you think of the talent on show, but not only the talent, the eclectic nature of all of the genres that were on show in that particular decade. I'll give you an idea. We've just heard there the Specials. So that we had Two Tone, right? So we had The Beat, we had Selector, all of those bands. Jerry Dammers set up his music project, Two Tone, in Coventry, and amazing groups came out of that. It was the late 70s, but into the 80s, and the 80s was when they kind of hit their peak. And then you had New Romantics, so Duran Duran, Spandau Ballet, lots of eye makeup, etc. And you had the mod revival, don't forget. So you still had groups like The Jam in that particular era. People wearing parkas at school, I remember that well. You had goth, yeah. You had The Mission, The Cure, loads of other types of bands like that. Obviously, I've forgotten which one they are, otherwise I'd give you their names. And rock. Oh, we had loads of rock, yeah. We had Bon Jovi, we had, who else? We had Europe, so it's that kind of stadium rock, I would call it, yeah. We had Def Leppard, I'm trying to think now. It's just going. I'm just too excited, basically. And then with all the pop that you can imagine, and great pop artists, and don't forget all of the artists that started bands in the 70s, particularly when punk hit, and everyone thought, well, hey, I can get into that. And all these bands started, and then they hit the ground running, and then they developed into fantastic bands of the 80s. And there was a massive, what they call British invasion over in America, where all of these bands became not just local and nationwide heroes, they became worldwide heroes. You talk Depeche Mode, U2, Eurythmics, Duran Duran, The Police. I mean, you could go on. And then we had, later on in the decade, we had house music. And then we had indie dance. Yeah, we had like Manchester Sound, all of that. So that is the reason all of that music packed into one decade. I don't think you get that with other decades. And what's really notable is these kind of little gangs of music that people, tribes of music, if you like, that followed all those genres of music. And I think that was a fantastic thing. And you don't see that at all these days. So it's very exciting. And how have I chosen the songs that I've chosen today? Because I tell you what, I could have done. I mean, I'm doing 4 hours. That's quite a stint, right? But don't worry. I've sorted out a toilet break halfway through, and I've got a coffee and a chocolate tiffin. That'll keep me going for ages. Don't worry. But how did I actually choose the music that I've picked? And like I said, I could have gone on like 3 or 4 times the amount of music that I have chosen. So we've got just generally great songs that I think are brilliant, the songs I think you will want to listen to, right? But also I'm trying to represent most of the top artists of that decade. Not always the song that you expect. A great song, but not always the song that you expect, which is what the Broken Biscuit show is all about, right? Those hidden, misplaced, misshapen gems. And then you've got representation of all the genres I've just talked about. And then songs that are culturally significant, yeah, that made their mark on a tip, that were copied into the future in music. So that's the way that I picked the music. So I hope that I can represent all of those areas.